welcome to another segment of Motivational Mondays with Donna. I pray that everyone is doing well, and if you're encountering any challenges, just remember that God is ordering your steps and to just let go and let God. This week's topic is your attitude is going to determine your altitude. Attitude is very, very important. If you have a rotten attitude, honestly, you're just going to have a rotten life. People are not going to want to be around you. People are not going to want to deal with you. And God wants you to love yourself and to be able to love others. And if you're not doing that, He's not going to bless you. It's kind of just that simple, point blank, you know? You just have to pay attention to the choices that you make every day. And your choices are very, very important. You have to keep a positive stream no matter what's going on around you. And when you do that, then God knows that you trust Him, no matter what type of trials or challenges or tribulations that you're going through, because ultimately, God is going to give you the victory, but He wants to make sure that you have a good attitude. Now, there are several people in the Bible. I'm going to name off some as well as, just regular everyday people. You had Abraham. God spoke to him and told him that he would have a male child. And at first, he was a little concerned because he was up in age, him and his wife Sarah, but he kept a good attitude. And at 90 years of age, Sarah gave birth to Isaac. And Isaac's name means laughter. So, how funny is that? And then you've got Paul and Silas. They were thrown in jail. And at midnight, they had been praising and worshiping God. And directly at midnight, God had an earthquake come through and just bust open the prison doors. And they were able to be free and just go on about their business because they kept a good attitude. Joseph, oh my goodness, he had a tremendous attitude because of everything he went through. Joseph went from the pit to the palace, his brothers throwing him in the pit. And then he got to the palace. And then, Pharaoh's wife was trying to sleep with him and he was running from her. And she grabbed his garment, his cloak he was wearing, and then reported to her husband that he was trying to be sexual with her. And then he threw him in jail and everything that went on with him. But ultimately, he wound up being second in command once Pharaoh had a disturbing dream and Joseph was able to interpret it. He kept a good attitude. You know, God had given him this tremendous dream that he was going to be a high ranking official, when he was 17 years old. That did not come into effect until 13 years later. I didn't say 13 days, 13 months, it's 13 years, and he kept a good attitude. Hannah in the Bible wanted so desperately to have a son. Her husband was married to her as well as somebody else, and the other woman was able to just keep having children one after the other. And the other wife just mocked her because she couldn't. But she prayed to God and said that if you give me a son, that, I'll just give him back to you. And God heard her prayer and opened up her womb and obliged her. And she gave birth to the prophet Samuel, and she raised him until he was about 3 years of age and then brought him back to the church and gave him back to God. Well, God made sure that she was able to have four other children. She kept a good attitude all the way through and believed. You've got Bethany Hamilton. She's a tremendous surfer. A tiger shark wound up getting a hold of her left arm and bit it off completely. But 3 weeks after, she got herself together and just got back up on a surfboard and just kept going. And now she's happily married and has competed in a lot of different tournaments and has done very, very well. So her attitude was stellar. And above stellar, you have Nick Vukovic. Nick was born with a condition where he had no arms and no legs. And he actually uses his toes to be able to use a computer. And he can type 43 words a minute. When he's had some coffee after a few cups, he actually says it's like 53 words a minute. But, he's an evangelist now, and he's been married for 10 years with 4 children. Talk about a great attitude. Your attitude determines your altitude. Very important. Now, we always end our segments on gratitude. And Leroy Robert, best known as Satchel Paige in baseball. He was an American professional baseball pitcher who played in the Negro Leagues and also in the major leagues. And his career actually spanned 5 decades. That's how long he played. And it culminated with his induction into the National Baseball Hall of Fame. And he had this to say about gratitude: don't pray when it rains if you don't pray when the sun shines. You have to be grateful for everything, no matter how small, no matter how big, no matter whether it's rainy, whether it's dry outside. Gratitude will make your life soar. So remember this week, your attitude determines your altitude, and always have tremendous gratitude. Talk to you next week, guys. Have a great week.